Okay, so I have just finished doing, I actually ended up doing 2 rows all the way around of this border stitch, just doing a clean single crochet. I ended up deciding I wanted to do 2 rather than 1, just because for each of these lines here you had an original white border from each of the 2 rectangles and then a join seam, so it had the 3 rows. This outer bit only had 2 with the original bit and then the single crochet. So I wanted to have it be 3 deep, same as these guys here. Each of them had an original border and then we had the join row. So I just thought doing 2 rows of single crochets all the way around gave it a much cleaner border. So here's what it looks like all folded up. And then I actually prefer this look. I think it has a really nice clean cut look with these lines, and it just doing a straight line really accentuates the rectangles that are going all the way around for that border tile, and then you can really hone in on this lovely texture. If, on the other hand, you would like to do what's called a shell stitch. A shell stitch is a really, really beautiful border stitch, and it can give work a really dainty feel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a shell stitch on this little tile just to be able to go around it a lot easier. So let me just snip off my white yarn over here. And we're going to focus just on this little guy. And this is just an alternative. It's just if you even want to, you don't have to. You could watch this video, and if you like it, you could do it. And if not, I think it's a really cool clean cut look just having the single crochet border. I think it gives it a really clean cut and elegant look for that border tile. Okay, so for a shell stitch, just gonna pull my yarn and pull through a loop. So for a shell stitch, it's got a very basic pattern, and we're just going to continue repeating it. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to pretend I just have a loop pulled. I'm going to be looking in that next stitch, and in this next stitch I'm going to do 5 double crochets all in that same space. Okay, so yarn over, and I'm just going to start in this next stitch. Grab the yarn, pull it through, 3 on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And I'm going to do that 4 more times to have a total of 5 double crochets all in that same stitch. Okay, and then pull through 2, pull through 2, right? Grab the yarn into the next stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, that's 3. Yarn over into the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We've got a total of 4, we got to do 1 more. Okay, and then once you've got those 5 double crochets, the next step is we're going to skip the next stitch, right? So we're skipping the stitch. We're going to, into this next stitch, just do a slip stitch. Okay, so skip, we're going to go in, grab the yarn, pull it through, and for a slip stitch, remember, you're just going to slide through that stitch. And what that does is it's just attaching it into place. And so that's the basic of what a shell stitch looks like. You can continue making these little shells, which look almost like flower petals, and it gives a really dainty border. So if you prefer this, you can add this on, or you can just leave the 2 rows of single crochets. To do your next shell, we're going to, in that next stitch, right? So we're not doing anything more into the one we just slip stitched. We're going to do 5 double crochets into that next stitch. So yarn over, into the next stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through, 3 on the hook, grab the yarn, pull through 2, grab the yarn, pull through 2, and I'm going to do 4 more, continuing to double crochet. So that's 2, yarn over into that stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through, 3 on the hook, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 3 so far. Yarn over into the stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through, 3 on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 4 stitches. 1 more. Okay, so that's 5, and then remember we skip the next stitch and we slip stitch into the one after that. So not this guy, but the next one I'm going to go in, grab the yarn, pull through, and then turn my hook and angle the left yarn loop through the right. And it's just going to latch it onto place. Okay, so we're just going to keep doing that until we get to this corner, and I'm going to show you what to do at the corner, just in case you are worried about it. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video, continue doing 5 double crochets, skip a stitch, slip stitch, and then 5 double crochets. So it's that kind of 3-stitch pattern. 5 in the first stitch, skip the next one, slip stitch into the third. Okay, I will see you at this left corner. Okay, so I have continued to work along the edge, and this is where we are now. So we have reached that first corner. Now, really for the shell stitch, in my mind, there's not really much different that you do when you attend to a corner. So I've just done these 5 double crochets. My next step is normally to skip stitch and slip stitch into the third, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So skip 1, slip stitch into this stitch, right, to finish off our 3-stitch pattern. Now at this point, I'm just going to keep doing the next step, except it's going to be a little tricky along this edge because these aren't regular stitches. But if you're on the blanket, you're going to have nice clean stitches. So what I would do is in the next stitch, I'm going to do 5 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and it's just the next stitch on this side of the blanket, right? You're not necessarily on the top anymore, but that's okay. 4 and 5. Okay, so once you've got your 5, you're gonna skip the next stitch. This is also why for a shell stitch it's preferred to have a single crochet border first. As you can see, these edges are going to be harder for me. But I just wanted to show you a smaller piece than the actual blanket for ease of seeing the stitch real fast. But as I was saying, we're going to skip the next stitch, slip stitch into the one after that. So as you can see, the corner wasn't that big of a deal. So you just continue doing that same pattern along the edge, and it typically works out really, really nice. The only issue sometimes with this is when you get to the very, very end, when you get here, you might have a little bit of difficulty with like if there's an extra stitch left over. So if you have like 1 extra stitch, like the pattern, the amount of stitches around is not divisible by 3, which is the stitches to make each of these shells. If you get an odd number, you can just single crochet those 2 stitches together or slip stitch along and connect it to the edge. So I normally will, just single crochet together to compensate if it's a little bit off. But that is how to do a shell stitch. And you are free to do a shell stitch if you want to add a little bit of pizzazz to the blanket. But I myself am really digging how it looks. Just having those nice clean lines. I think the clean lines on this border are just really, really classy. So I'm really happy with how that's looking. So I'm going to leave mine without the shell stitch. If you wanted to add the shell stitch, this is kind of what it would look like. Just to give you, I'm going to kind of tuck this guy under, just to give you the look, it would look like this with little shells on top along the edge. So you can add something like that if you'd like, or you can just leave the nice clean lines. It's totally up to you. At this point, the last step is to take a darning needle and just take these ends and sew them underneath. You're just going to like work the needle underneath stitches. So I can show you what that looks like if you are wanting a quick little bit on how to do that. You can either use a darning needle, or sometimes I prefer to grab, I'll show you guys, a really tiny crochet hook. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and hide this stitch. I might have to turn this work. I'm going to try and hide this little stitch underneath these bits. So I normally will kind of work my way through with a little crochet hook. And I find that this is an option if you don't have a needle handy, or you prefer working with crochet hooks to needles. You can just turn that, here we go, and pull it under. So you can do it like that. And then you just, keep going under stitches. It's a little bit more time consuming depending on how tight your stitches are, but it's super easy to do. So that's one option. Or if you want to use a needle, you would be doing the same thing, as just hiding this little tail underneath these stitches. And then once you've got it, along the edge and you're satisfied, you just snip it off. But yeah, either a crochet hook or use a needle to slide just under these stitches here to hide those tails. And then that's it, and you are ready to enjoy your Dragonfly baby blanket. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you learned some new stuff, and I hope that you enjoy using your new blanket.